Get ready for another microdose. And hey, if this information is jiving with you, then check out the full episode. The link is in the show notes. Enjoy the ride.
The science on that is so clear. And I can't tell you how many people have written me and that I've talked to who have said just getting their breathing in order by breathing less and understanding this concept, they've either reduced or reversed their asthma. Same thing with panic, and breathing can even affect autoimmune conditions as well.
Well, you mentioned panic there, and one of our watchers put a comment about post-traumatic stress and anxiety, and you talk a lot about that in the book, about the amygdala and the role that the amygdala plays, but then also the chemoreceptors. Can you talk about what you experienced there?
Sure. So our chemoreceptors are these little receptors that gauge the amount of CO2 and oxygen. The peripheral chemoreceptors are looking at oxygen as well. But our main driver for breathing is CO2, is an increase of CO2. It's not oxygen. And I've gotten this. So when you hold your breath right now, if you exhale, hold your breath, that need to breathe you're feeling is triggered from an increase of CO2. And that increase of CO2 is gauged and measured by these chemoreceptors. That's a very simplistic explanation of how it works, but that's how it works with breathing. So the concept is that by allowing these chemoreceptors to flex more, to become tolerant of more CO2, you can fix your breathing and calm yourself. We know that when there's low CO2 in the body, you tend to lose circulation in your extremities. You tend to lose circulation in your brain, in the blood flow to your brain, okay? You tend to become more panicked because your body associates breathing like this with an emergency. So you create this negative feedback loop that you're constantly alerting your body that there's an emergency, right? And this drives people crazy. It leads them to panic. It can contribute to many symptoms of PTSD. So the very first thing you should do is to get control of your breathing. I don't know if you know Dr. Andrew Huberman at Stanford. He's been studying a ton of breathing over the last few years, but he said this is the number one quickest and most profound thing you can do is to get control of your breathing if you have one of these conditions. And we can understand it from a biochemical standpoint, physiological standpoint, neurological standpoint, but all of those things tie together. That this is your driver and the thing you really need to get a hold of.
Nice.
Wow.
Well, I know you have a hard stop coming up, so I want to be conscious of that for you. I'm done with my questions. Will, anything on your end that you want to wrap up with?
Oh yeah, I can always ask some questions. But like, what was like some of your biggest revelations from, I mean, it seems like there's so many in this book, but what are some of the biggest moments as you're writing this book and being the guinea pig and researching it, you're just like, wow, like what were some of the most profound things or experiences that you had while going through this 10 years took you to write this book, right?
Yeah, well, 10 years from the point at which I really started getting interested in breathing. So I was not working on this. It took years and years and years to convince myself, then to convince my agent, then to convince my editor, and then to put all the pieces of the puzzle together into a proposal that I was like, I think there's a book here. I'm not quite sure. I think there is. And I had to rewrite that entire proposal. So that was about 5-6 months of work just went out the window once I started getting much deeper into the story, because I could not believe the stuff I was finding. Like literally, I could not believe that they were real and that they checked out, and that evolution doesn't work in a straight line of progress, that our teeth are all messed up because of we haven't been chewing right, that CO2 was the main driver. And so it wasn't, I would love to give you a quick answer on that, but it was too many things. I kept digging and kept finding stuff. I got really obsessed. When I work on something, it's not a 8 hours a day situation. All night, I'm reading about it. All day, I'm writing, I'm reading, I'm talking to people, and I love it. It doesn't feel like work because I'm a pretty curious person, and I want to figure out what the real core nugget is. And also I want to try to strip away some layers of bullshit that we've been fed on both sides of the aisle, Western medicine, but also new agey medicine and just get to what is really happening. So it took a while. So many revisions of this book, 90% of the book ended up being cut out. So hopefully I'll do something with that at some other time. So this book was a complete nightmare, a complete pain in the ass. And I was so happy when it was done. But I've learned so much since it's come out. And it's been a lot of fun now working with so many researchers at top institutions on new studies, on new research. We're trying to put together a big conference, and it's been really exciting.
Yeah, you seem to be a massive champion for this work now, or just kind of, because you wrote the book, and then I guess you're kind of have turned into, seemingly for me, it's like a central figure. It's like, oh, well, there's the body of work.
I'm comfortable explaining this stuff from the perspective of the researchers and other people that have put in the real work. And I try to make that very clear. I never want to be an evangelist for anything. I want to be an objective observer. So you're not going to see me on stage with a big breathe sign in the back, and say, come on, breathe, everyone. Wim Hof is the master at that. That's his specialty. He's such an amazing dude who's done such amazing stuff. But if I can be a conduit for all of this research and these studies, which are impossible to read, by the way, they're really hard to penetrate, and to reinterpret that and put it into a language that the rest of us can understand, then I see that as being my role. But again, I want to be sure that the credit is due to the people who have actually spent so many years in these places. I'm just the filter for the information. I put it together, and I've been lucky enough to go and talk about this stuff, which even after a year and a few months, I'm still so excited because I still keep learning new things about it.
Hey, thanks for joining us on this journey. Small doses lead to big changes. If you're vibing with this snippet, then take a listen to the full episode by clicking the link in the show notes. If you would like to plug in deeper to what we're doing, head to mentalkingmindfulness.com or text MTM to 33777. Until next time, peace.